In the last week, we studied AC potentiometers. And one particular type of AC potentiometer that we studied was polar potentiometer, where we use a phase shifter to change the angle, phase angle of the supply voltage here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, please.
Sir, before we start, can I ask you something?
Yes, yes.
Sir, actually, it's about, can you please share your plan of number of tests and the grading for this? Like
Okay.
many of us
Can
wanted.
we discuss about these things at the end of the class? If you,
Yeah, yeah, sure, sir.
okay, yeah. Okay. So today we will study one more potentiometer, AC potentiometer, which is called coordinate potentiometer, and to start with, let me say that phasor voltage, AC voltage in phasor form, can be represented in two ways: the magnitude and the angle in this way, or we can write as the sum of V real plus I V
Excuse me,
imaginary.
sir. Your
Screen is
screen is not visible clear.
to I mean, what about others? I mean, is it only for
No,
you?
sir, it's visible for me, sir.
Okay.
Visible for me.
Visible for me.
So is your problem solved?
Okay,
Otherwise,
sir, I will check my.
yeah, otherwise you may join the parallel Google Meet thing. Okay, yeah. So so a phasor voltage can be represented in this form, where we have two variables, the magnitude and the angle, or as the real and the imaginary parts. Now in polar potentiometer we can change the, I mean, search for the magnitude and angle separately. When we turn the knob of the phase shifter, we basically change the angle. Today we will see another type of potentiometer, which we call the coordinate potentiometer, where we will see that behaves like where we can change the real part and imaginary part of a complex number, complex voltage, independently. So let us see that. Coordinate potentiometer. Okay. Essentially, it is a combination of two potentiometers. So let me draw two wires, two potentiometer wires of normally equal length, okay, and they basically, these two potentiometers will be used to measure, loosely speaking, the real part and the imaginary part of the unknown voltage. Therefore, the voltage supplied to these two potentiometers should also be 90° out of phase. What we can do, suppose we have AC source, and then we can use this to feed this first potentiometer, say. This resistance is to control the amount of current, okay. Acha. And then we can supply the other potentiometer from the same source, but now let me feed it through some impedances such that I can
Can you
change. Yes,
page a little down?
little up
Yes, little up, sir. Little, yes.
now. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now if so this arrangement is to basically to change the angle of the current that will flow through this wire compared to this. Okay, so I mean you can use in place of capacitance, in principle you can use inductors. Essentially this is to make or to change the angle of this current. Okay, so essentially here we will have a voltage or a current in this wire and another voltage or current in this wire which should be 90 degree out of phase. Okay, acha. And then when we measure the unknown voltage, suppose this is the unknown AC voltage, we can do this. Say we connect one end with a jockey on this wire, another end we can connect here with another jockey. Okay, and in series I need a galvanometer. Okay, now and let me just join this, sort this. Okay, now there is a problem. The problem is that if I sort this, then these two. Acha, before coming to that problem, the idea is this: when you move this end and this end, basically you will get null if this voltage Vx is equal to this voltage plus this voltage. Okay, if the sum of this and these two voltages is equal to the unknown voltage, then we will get null. And here we are getting one component of voltage, another component of voltage, which are 90 degree out of phase, and you can change these two components individually as if we are changing the real and imaginary part of a voltage independently. Okay, but now if we sort like in this way, it's gonna create problem. So all we need to do is this. We need some isolation. So let me, instead of connecting these sources directly, let me connect it through a isolation transformer. This is a transformer, and also here okay. Now this loop, you see this loop and this loop, if this is not connected, then they are absolutely independent. This and this are independent. So without any fear, I can just join one terminal and make these two ends have same potential. Okay. Acha. Next, so the idea is this: these two wires will have 90 degree out of phase voltages, and you adjust these two jockey positions to get null. When you get null, then this voltage Vx, that will be sum of this voltage plus this voltage. Okay, acha, fine. Okay, next there are couple of questions. Number one, how do we standardize this setup? Standardize means how do we fix the constant volt per unit length constant for these two wires. Okay, that means suppose we need 1 volt per millimeter or so. How do we ensure that? That is one thing. Secondly, how do we ensure that this voltage and this voltage are 90 degree out of phase? Okay, so first we will do this. So standardization. So for standardization, I will again use a DC standard cell because there is no AC standard cell. First, I will standardize, say, this left potentiometer. Okay, first I will standardize this left potentiometer, then I can go for the right one. So for that, now let me erase this unknown voltage. We will bring it at the end in the measurement phase. So right now, let us disconnect this and connect. Okay, let me connect it separately. This is the standard DC cell with voltage 1.0 with something like that. Okay, now first you decide what is the constant you want. Okay, so decide the constant, something like 1 volt per millimeter or 0.1 volt per millimeter, whatever value you decide. Okay, so first let me write decide volt per length factor or constant. Okay, accordingly you put the two ends of this jockey at a suitable length, at suitable distance, where this voltage is 1.08 volt according to your chosen factor. Okay, so you put it there. One end of this cell is already on one extreme, the other end is variable, but you fix it, put it at the chosen location. Okay, this is chosen location. Okay, we will not adjust this location to find null. Instead, what we will do now, we will adjust this rheostat. If we adjust this rheostat, then this current changes. If this current changes, then this current will also change. If you want, instead of here, you can put a rheostat here. That is also okay. And by changing this also, you can change this current. Okay, therefore you can change this voltage. Okay, and you adjust this supply so that at the chosen location you get null. Oh, for that I need the galvanometer. Okay, so you adjust the supply current and get the null. When you get the null, your left potentiometer is standardized. Okay, up to this, any question? Fine. Achha. Once the left, yes.
Sir, are those two points still shorted? Means those two transformer ends?
This end, yeah, no problem if it is sorted now. No problem.
Okay, sir.
And because you see that basically this side of the circuit is isolated to this side, only one, there is only one common connection, and with one common connection no current can flow or anything. Only it makes the potential at this point and this point equal, but it doesn't change anything else. There is no current here is zero.
Yes, sir, yes.
Okay, fine.
Can you, sir, explain what was the need of using a transformer over here once again?
That was because when I was sorting this end, okay, if I sort it and if I connect these sources directly, okay, then this potential, this loop and this loop are not isolated. The moment I connect it, there may be current. Okay, there may be current through it because there is another path. Okay, if between two circuits two portion of circuits, if there is only one link, one wire, current cannot flow. But if there are more than one wire, current can flow. Okay, so at this moment between this loop and this loop, only one wire is there. So basically these two sides I can consider as being as separate. But if I connect these two sources directly, then apart from this, there is one more connection through which current can flow, and it will make my life more complicated. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so the left potentiometer is standardized. Now we have to standardize the right potentiometer. Okay, acha. Now when we standardize the right side potentiometer, we have to ensure two things. Number one, per unit length voltage is as per our chosen requirement, whatever we have chosen. So the magnitude of the voltage per unit length should be as per the chosen value, that is requirement 1. And requirement 2, the phase of this voltage. The phase of this voltage should be 90 degree out of phase from voltage here. So we have two requirements. Okay. Now these two requirements we will satisfy simultaneously in the following way. For that I need little space, so let me clean this part and make some space for me. Achha. Now here I will break this. I will put a air core transformer. And now let me move it up a bit. Okay, acha. Now let me use a different color. Acha. Now I will bring these two ends. Acha. Before that, let me first remove this DC standard cell. Oh, I have missed one thing in the standardization of the left potentiometer. What is that? Okay, I'll come to this, but I missed one thing. Okay, let me tell that. I missed one ammeter here. An RMS meter should be there, and you know, all we have to do, there is one more thing we missed. Tell me what did I miss? If you understood the last week's thing.
So decide the length where the null point would be there.
Oh, I mean more important than that. See, I was doing this standardization with a DC cell. Okay, but here I was giving supply from AC. So how do I get null?
Rectifier, that should be rectifier, something like that.
No. If you take rectifier, your waveform will be.
Diode.
Yes?
Shifter.
Diode, sir. Diode.
No. But if you use rectifier, then your supply waveform will be like this, but your unknown waveform is flat, so you cannot match them. So you will never get balance. What did we do in our last week?
So phase shifter.
No. Phase shifter, how will it work? This is DC, purely DC, and this is AC. Phase shifter will give AC only, with a phase shift. To get balance, if this is DC, this
So we
voltage.
need another DC supply.
Absolutely, we need another DC supply. Okay, so and I need space. How do I do that? let me erase it from here. Difficult for me now. Okay, let me do it this way. This is a DC supply, and here we have a key. Okay, so now let me repeat. I made this mistake, I forgot this. Okay, so in the first part, when you are standardizing this left side potentiometer, you have to connect this to the DC supply. Okay, and then you connect these two ends from the DC standard cell. You keep it at the desired location, don't move it. Adjust this rheostat and get the null. When you get null, record the value of this ammeter reading. Okay, and remember that reading. Okay, after you record this value, now you switch it back to AC. Okay, now when you have AC, then again you adjust this rheostat. You may also adjust this rheostat if you want, and get back the same value of ammeter reading as before. That means now here we have same amount of RMS current. That means we have same amount of RMS voltage per unit length as we decided as the calibration factor. Okay, after that you remove this. Okay, now the left potentiometer is calibrated. Okay, any problem so far? Okay, now let me calibrate the right side potentiometer, and let me repeat, to calibrate the right side potentiometer there are two requirements. Number one, this voltage per here the voltage per unit length should be same as what we decided, and the angle of this voltage should be 90 degree out of phase from this voltage. So to ensure that, what we will do, we will put a air core transformer here, and from the output of the transformer we will so one end of this output is connected to this end, and the other end, this diagram will be ugly, but that's fine. This other end I will connect with a jockey here. Okay, and now I will keep this jockey at a suitable position, fixed at this position, and adjust these two until and unless I get null here. Okay, to detect null I need a galvanometer in series. Now you notice a number of things. Number one, let me call, say, this current as IL, L for left, and say this current as IR, R for right. Okay, now we want this this voltage. Okay, I'm not writing. Suppose this voltage is VL and this voltage from here to here is VR. Then we want VL and VR to be, the phasor angle between them should be 90 degree perpendicular. Okay, so that means we want these two currents IL and IR to be 90 degree out of phase. Okay, because this voltage is current times resistance, this voltage is this current times resistance. So if these two currents are 90 degree out of phase, the voltages will also be 90 degree out of phase. And also if these two are identical, if these two are identical potentiometers with same resistance, then we will actually want the magnitude of IL also should be equal to magnitude of IR. So these two currents should have same magnitude, but the angle between them, the phasor angle between them should be 90 degree. Let me write in this way.
Sir, shouldn't the direction of IL be towards the left?
One second.
Yes, sir.
Okay, towards the left or right will only change the overall plus minus sign. So that, okay, let's come to that at the end, okay. But yeah, that will only change the overall plus minus sign. We'll come to that at the end. Okay, fine. Acha. Now, so these two currents should be 90 degree out of phase. Acha. Then, acha, if this voltage, call it, what can I call, Vm, okay, acha. What is the relation between Vm and IR, angle relation, phase angle relation between Vm and IR? Can anyone say? When I get, say, yes, 90 degree. When I get balance here, that's what I will get. Then there is no current flowing in this wire, and this voltage is basically M. This is equal to mutual inductance between this M into d IR dt. This is Vm. Okay, so basically this voltage and IR will be 90 degree out of phase. Okay, there will be an overall plus minus uncertainty that depends on the dot position, like this or this, etc. So overall plus minus thing I'm not considering. Okay, so I can say the voltage Vm and IR are plus minus 90 degree out of phase. It may be plus or minus. Okay, at present I'm using, yes.
Sir, I did not understand why we are using that extra transformer and we are pointing it towards the left side.
Okay, let me tell that. Acha. Purpose is to make sure that this current IR is of same magnitude as IL and they are 90 degree out of phase. Okay, now for that what we will do, we will take this voltage, okay, acha, and so acha, suppose wire resistance is equal to, say, R, so that means here to here the resistance is R, then this voltage is how much? IL into R, okay, acha. And suppose this has a mutual inductance M, okay, then this voltage Vm has a magnitude IR omega M, okay. Where do I write? Magnitude of Vm equal to M omega IR, okay. So when IR and IL are equal, okay, then Vm will be, okay, and also when IR and IL are 90 degree out of phase, then Vm will be in the same phase as this voltage. Agreed? When IR and IL are 90 degree out of phase, then Vm will be in the same phase as this wire potential, and then we can get a null. Otherwise we cannot get a null. So if we are getting a null here, that means Vm is in same phase as this potential, and that means IR is 90 degree out of phase from IL. Okay, so we will put it here and adjust these two. until and unless we get null. When we get null, that ensures these two are 90 degree out of phase. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and also the magnitude of this voltage is m omega IR. So I know that if I want to make the magnitude of this voltage and this voltage same, can you tell me at which length this is? Let me check whether you understood it or not. Suppose I put it at a length L. What should be the value of L? I want this potential from here to here and this potential from here to here to be same. M is known, omega is known. Let me call it.
So R is resistance per unit length, right?
R is, okay, let me call it total resistance.
So K will be equal to m omega IR.
K, pardon?
Means I considered K to be means voltage per unit length of the left part.
Okay, acha fine. So let me do it in that way. Suppose the total length is capital L, total length. Okay, so that means I'm running out of space.
So I think
So
length will be L omega M IR by RIL.
Okay, I think you are correct. Let me do it. So here this voltage is L by L into ILR. This is this voltage, correct? And this should be equal to this voltage, which is M into IR. And we want IL and IR to be of same magnitude. Therefore, we should take L to be equal to M by R into capital L. I missed the omega. Okay, so this is where you should put your jockey and then adjust these two impedances to get null. Once you get null, that ensures that this wire has same voltage as this wire, but they are 90 degree out of phase. Okay. Now once this is, yes please.
No, sir, nothing. Yes.
Okay. Now once this is done, then these two wires are ready for the measurement. These two potentiometers are ready for the measurement. Now you can remove this and you can connect the unknown source. Basically, you do not need three different galvanometers. One same galvanometer. If I had done this cleverly, I could do that with same galvanometer. Okay, fine. And I could possibly draw a nicer diagram. Okay. And during the measurement, now you move this jockey and move this jockey, and when you get the null, then this voltage plus this voltage is equal to this voltage. Everyone agrees?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let me ask you some questions. So number one, question number one. Okay, after these two potentiometers are standardized and you put this unknown source here, is it guaranteed that we will always find a null? What are the conditions required to get the null? Or when tell me, I mean, all of you just tell me the different situations when it may be possible that this unknown cannot be balanced with these two potentiometer.
So if the phase of the voltage is leading and the phase drop and the phase in the second half of the potentiometer is lagging, that then they won't we won't get a balance point.
Excellent, very good. So suppose, I mean, this voltage, so if I draw a phasor diagram, let me draw it here. Suppose this voltage is here with respect to some reference, and this voltage from left to right, okay? So I'm drawing the voltage from left to right direction, and this voltage is suppose here, okay? And then by changing this length and this length, you can basically change, basically you are taking one component from here, another component from here, and you can change this horizontal and vertical components, so you can move anywhere on the first quadrant. But suppose this unknown voltage, its phasor representation is somewhere here, this is Vx with respect to some chosen reference, then we can never get the balance. Okay, very good, excellent. Acha, can you, so if that happens, first question, how will you detect that that is the thing is happening? Okay, I mean, there may be many reasons for not getting the null in the laboratory. This is one possible reason, and if you fail to get the null in this way, how will you detect that this is the case?
Sir, can we use a like phase shifter to shift it by 90 degree, then measure it and then subtract 90 degree to get the required phase?
Okay, so that is a separate question. Let me just tell you that if you have a phase shifter, then you can change the angle to any desired value, not just 90 degree. Okay, so then if that is the case, why you will use two potentiometers? Okay, I mean, we did that before. Now, I mean, with one potentiometer and one phase shifter, we can do it. Then why we will make unnecessary complicated arrangements with two potentiometers when we have a phase shifter? That is one possible solution. Okay, no problem. But we don't need, I mean, see, a phase shifter you can think is is not as easily available as a capacitor or a resistor to shift the phase. Okay.
It can also,
Yes, please.
sir, means it can also be like that the voltage that we are measuring has only one polar component, and if we are sliding the jockey, means there is some non-zero lengths on both sides, then we will never get the null point if the means Vx has only one component.
Okay, so suppose Vx lies on this line only. Okay, so then where we will get the balance? We will get the balance actually when this is here at the extreme end. Basically, we are not taking any component from the right side potentiometer. No problem, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now after this you tell me the answer to my previous question, that suppose Vx lies outside this quadrant and therefore you are not getting the null. How you will recognize, okay, this is the case? What will be the indication? Let me give you a clue.
Sir.
I will not give the answer. Yes, please.
Is it due to the galvanometer reading?
Okay, on the track. Let me give you a clue. Suppose we have a normal DC potentiometer. Okay. And just a second. And here I have a DC voltage, but I don't know the polarity. Okay. If I don't know the polarity, then it's not necessary that I will get a null always. But how will I know that this is of opposite polarity, and how will I recognize that?
Sir, when
The
we
current
sweep the
in-
jockey from one end to the other, the current will always keep increasing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Current will.
Yes. So, I mean, we will look at the galvanometer deflection, and we will see here we are getting some deflection. Okay. Then when we bring it here, we are getting less deflection. Okay. Here even less. Here even less. Here even less. At the extreme left point, even less. Least deflection, but that is not null yet. That means, okay, even 0 voltage is not close enough to this unknown voltage. So now we have to go to negative voltage. For that, either you, reverse this, or you reverse this. Okay. So similarly, what will happen here? If this unknown is not in the desired quadrant, then you will find, okay, we are getting some deflection here. Then if we bring it towards 0, we are getting lower deflection, lesser deflection, here even less, but this is still not 0. So then you will recognize, acha, that means this potential is required to be reversed. Okay. So now next I will ask, how will you reverse it without doing much change? How will you reverse the direction of potential in this way?
So instead of capacitor, we can use the inductor.
Yes, no problem. You can use an inductor. That will also give a phase shift. But but that will. You can use inductor in general. But if you replace the capacitor with an inductor, that is not going to give you voltage in the opposite direction. And if you change it, then you have to recalibrate everything. That means you have to re-standardize everything. What is the simplest thing you can do? You can just say reverse the terminals of this transformer or this side, right? Then this voltage will get reversed. Okay. Similarly for this side also, if you do not get null and if you get minimum deflection at the 0 position, then you may need to reverse this transformer. Okay. Let me make it clearer. Acha. Next, any questions so far? Okay. Acha, let me ask. See, in my drawing, I have used iron core transformer according to my symbol here, and also here. But this transformer I have taken to be a air core transformer. And also I mentioned that this must be a air core transformer. Why is that so? Can we use a iron core transformer there? If I use an iron core transformer, will this relationship be valid?
Sir, I guess the self-inductance will also come into play.
No, self-inductance will not come into play, because during when you basically at balance, no current is flowing. At balance, no current is flowing, so drop due to self-inductance, etc., will not cause any problem. no matter whether you are taking iron core or air core, that whatever, and both of them have self inductances, but that is not a problem at all because at balance no current is flowing here. Okay? That is the beauty. But the problem with iron core is that this relationship will not be exactly valid because you might have studied about hysteresis. You know, because of hysteresis, magnetic flux and current, they are not exactly in same phase. Flux always lags the current by a small amount, which we call the hysteresis angle. Okay, so I mean, any iron core does not get magnetized immediately when you pass a current. I mean, there is a lag between the phase angle of current and phase angle of magnetic flux. So therefore this will not be true. So that's why this must be an air core transformer. So you see there are so many, I mean this topic, one topic, but it has so many small things to think. Okay, so and it also tells that there may be so many, I mean, so many detailed things you should be or one should be aware, I mean, careful of. Otherwise, we will not get proper measurement. Okay.
Sir?
Yes.
So means in general we can just create some signal generator having pure sine or cos. So means practical how cells are there which has some polar component also of sinusoidal, means how those cells are generators are created which can generate.
Okay, so let me first say this that we have signal generators, we have normal generator alternators also, and both I mean can give you some rated voltage. You may also be able to control or change that voltage. There may be some nice display, analog or LCD display, which may give you the live reading of the voltage being generated. But how do you know that it is giving the, I mean, voltage as per the rated value or as per the displayed value? Or how did you calibrate it for the first time? When you made your first signal generator or first alternator, how did you measure it? That is the thing, right? Now, after you make one signal generator and after you calibrate it, if you find your signal generator is very robust and its properties are not changing with time, that you can ensure by calibrating it several times after several days at several different conditions, like say different power supply fluctuation. And if you see that your signal generator is very nice, its displayed value and actual value is very much similar, then you can use that as your standard. Okay, then you can take that as your standard and you can calibrate other things with respect to that. But we will call that as a secondary standard, not the primary standard. Okay, because that itself is calibrated with respect to something else. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, Achha. So let me yes.
So, so I had one doubt in that.
Please, yes.
When we wanted the IR current, right one, so we change the terminals of that core transformer, iron core transformer. Instead of that, can't we do that? Can't we change the terminals of the air core transformer? Will it give the same effect?
Here, I mean, during the measurement phase, when we found the Vx outside the this quadrant,
Yes,
there, right? Achha, if you change anything here in the primary. Okay, firstly in the measurement phase, the secondary is open. We are not doing anything with the secondary. The secondary side is used only during the standardization of the right side transformer. Okay, so this side is open. There is nothing you can do at all. If you change anything here, nothing changes. Basically, this is what do you have? I mean, this is a inductor in series in this line, and if you just change the two terminals of an inductor in a circuit, same current will still flow in here. Okay, so I mean it's like I mean if with a supply and then you have an inductor and then you have something else, maybe a resistance. Okay, and if you just reverse this like this, this current is not going to change because an inductor is same from both sides. Okay, so in our last class,
Sir,
yes, please.
sir, sir, here we are using iron coal transformer. What if it gets saturated? Then the current will no longer be proportional.
One thing you notice is that after standardization, nothing changes in this iron core transformer. Okay, I mean after standardization, the current either through primary or secondary is not changing. Whatever value you had previously, you have to keep that that value. Now during standardization, basically your purpose is to get a desired value of voltage here, and for that you just change the current. Whether it's getting saturated or not, no problem. I mean saturated or not, if it is saturated it will waste power, etc, etc, but that we are not I mean in any case you will change these resistances and thereby you will change this current, that means this wire current, until you get null with this DC cell. And after that, once you got the null during the standardization, after standardization, these currents you are not changing. So whatever was the case, I mean same current is flowing, so that's not going to disturb. Okay, so no problem. That's not a problem. Okay. In a sense, I mean we do not rely on accuracy of any of these components here in this supply side. Okay, even this ammeter need not be accurate. It may be completely wrong, no problem. I'm just telling it in general, because I mean, what do we observe from this ammeter? We only make sure that the current in this line, as it was during the standardization with DC cell, remains unchanged. Okay, but whether this ammeter is giving correct value or not, we don't care. Maybe this ammeter is giving 10 ampere where it is supposed to give 5 ampere. No, but that is not a problem. If it is giving a wrong reading, let it give. I mean, after standardization, we will just make sure that it is still giving the same wrong reading. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so here we are relying only on which things? Accuracy of the voltage of this DC cell, uniformity of these two wires, and this transfer, this air core transfer, the accuracy of the value of M. Okay? These are the only things we depend on. Everything else can be wrong, no problem. We will still get correct measurement. I mean, that is one beauty. I mean, there may be so many non-reliable things which I mean, we can get rid of their non-reliability by cleverly doing things. Okay, that's the point. Acha, in our last class I forgot to do one small thing, so let me do that quickly, which was here in this context I told that I will mathematically show that these two horizontal and vertical coils create a rotating magnetic field. I told that intuitively, but I forgot to do that mathematically. So let me do that quickly. Okay, acha. Suppose this green current, what did I call it? IY, and this red current is IX. Okay, so the flux created, let me first say Ix is equal to, say, some magnitude I cosine omega t, and Iy is the same thing I but cosine omega t minus 90 degree. If so, then the flux due to Ix, which we can call Bx, so Bx will be this current multiplied by some constant, so we can write Bx is equal to some constant times I cosine omega t, and By equal to Ki cosine omega t minus 90 degree. Okay, acha. Then suppose this angle is theta. Okay, the angle of the blue coil with respect to the horizontal, suppose that is theta. Then, and suppose the area of the blue coil, that means this area, this rectangular area, suppose that area is A, then how much of Bx let me do first By maybe. How much of By is going through this coil? Okay, so that flux, vertical flux, okay, that we can write area, you project that area in the horizontal plane, so that will become A cosine theta, that is the projected area, and then you multiply that by By, okay, that will be the flux due to the vertical flux, and then similarly plus what will be the flux due to this Ix current, that will be A sine theta Bx. Why sine theta? Because this angle is 90 minus theta, so A sine theta Bx. Now let me put the values of By and Bx. So A you can take common, and if you put By and Bx, you will get this K and I common, some common factors, and then you have cos theta. In place of By I can write cosine omega t minus 90. So this is sine omega t, right? Okay, please help me if I make a mistake. So this is sine omega t, and then plus sine theta Bx is cos omega t. Okay, so this becomes AKI. Just we have sine theta and sine A cos B, cos A sine B, so this becomes something like sine omega t plus theta. Okay, so this is the flux or flux linkage. This is the flux through the blue coil. Okay, acha. Now you can multiply this with, say, number of turns of the blue coil. So you will get the flux linkage. So this is the flux linkage in the blue coil, okay, and the voltage in the blue coil will be the derivative of this. Okay, so where do I write? Here, voltage in blue coil that will be the time derivative of this, that will be a, k, I, n, all these constants. Then this will become cosine omega t plus theta with omega. So we have all these constants multiplied with a cosine term. So that means we will get cosine voltage, sinusoidal voltage in this blue coil, and you can change the phase angle of this voltage by changing this angle theta, which is this angle between the two, physical angle, mechanical angle between these two planes. That's how the phase shifter works. I am done. Okay. So any question, anything, any? So then we stop here today, and we will see you tomorrow again.